changes in the retail.
Why are you saying their buying habits are changing, so I can understand your question?
Well, millennials tend to not buy as often as the older ones. They're buying a different type of product and maybe buying online as well. So people, as we're doing with Deanna, selling online, how would you, with your Los Angeles apparel, change what you did with American apparel? I know you opened all those huge retail stores all around the world, but what are you addressing to sell direct or through privately, or you do both?
Well, I'm planning to do much of what I did before, to be absolutely candid with you, but what we did before and what we'll do now, we'll refine what we did before is we will make products that last longer. We will reject the concept of fast fashion because it's fast garbage and build products that are solid, that last for a while. Something like Converse All-Star is a good example of a product that lasted for a while, or Levi's 501 or the Volvo 240, whatever. Those products that have that mean something, that can be remembered, because if they are going to buy online, they got to know how it fits, what it is. It's kind of like those of you that are a little older in the room, a Champion sweatshirt with the side, they don't even make it anymore, but we know what it is, or the Hanes BVT. It's commodification of fashion a little bit so you can understand it online. And it's communicating what the product is, very good size information, and not any superficial or cheap low-end branding to reach the customer.
Well, I've seen your product, and I know I can guarantee that the product is very, very well made, and the quality is really good. Are you doing organic cotton as well?
We do some organics, but I personally think the organic clothing movement is somewhat superficial. What's most important that I think that young adults, whether they're Gen Z or millennial, and I'm a little bit more interested in Gen Z right now because I think they have a fresh outlook. Not to say that I don't embrace all generations, and I think there is also cross-pollination. There's people that are baby boomers that are aligning themselves with Gen Z, et cetera, et cetera. But people, I think what's most important to communicate is how the workers are treated in manufacturing. Who makes it, where is it made, and what are the hands? Because it's very nice. It's very nice to say it's organic, and maybe there was a lower impact on the environment, but then maybe there wasn't. But we made it in a sweatshop. What does that mean? Well, okay, great. Well, we used slaves, it's no problem. We paid people 20 cents an hour, but it was organic. I remember when the building fell down in Bangladesh, they found Clothes for Consciousness by H&M. In the rubble, they found the labels. So that's it's not believable, it's not authentic. So I think that's important.
This is absolutely the essence of what we're doing. And if you guys haven't seen, there's a documentary on HBO called The True Cost. And it is absolutely what Dove's talking about right now. You must go and see this. It's inspired me to do what I'm doing. I'd like to be a market disruptor, and this apparel industry is a fresh mess. So what Dove's doing is so critical, and what brands like we're doing is so critical that we are leading the way and hopefully making this the new normal of how we conduct business in apparel and textile.
Well, we know that I've been in the industry for many years, and I've lived in Los Angeles many years, and people say the sweatshops. There are so few sweatshops in Los Angeles, and what we've got is a vibrant industry. Unfortunately, it's not recognized by the state or the city as being such. They'd rather go to the techies rather than dealing with people who are sitting at a sewing machine, unfortunately. But for the most part, I know I've never been into a sweatshop environment in Los Angeles, ever. And so when people say it's a sweatshop industry, there might be those who are underground making fast fashion. We all know there are some. But for the most part, legitimate companies like Dove has, the sewers are all recognized in what he's done. Can I tell the story of the beautiful labels that you have now?
Of course.
You tell them.
Well, you can tell it if you want. But anyway, either one. Look, I'm from Montreal, I'm a hustler. I started selling t-shirts on the street, so, I come up with ideas. I used to sell, I used to sell t-shirts, $10, $7 US, over and over again, I have to say. And so, But then one thing people want to know how the garments are made. So we're putting the picture. We hired one of the illustrators from the Wall Street Journal. There's about 5 of them that do the illustration. We started illustrating the workers. The illustrator actually is one of them based in Russia. It's funny from Moscow, or St. Petersburg, I can't remember. But yeah, we're putting the picture of the worker on the back of the label. Various workers to say, hey, this is their story. And I think that connects the consumer to how it's made. So that's what we're saying.
Brilliant, I think it's brilliant. So, yeah. So what else are you doing now? Maybe Anthony, you can address, and Deanna, address what are the changes, which yours is just all online, right?
Manufacturing or selling?
Addressing the changes within the retail environment, how things are getting very depressed.
Yeah, this creates an opportunity. We're seeing, obviously, all these digital direct-to-consumer brands. This is where we're moving right now. With all, how many of you guys have any brand that you're working on? And how many of you guys are your first time here at sourcing? So I was here 2 years ago, right here in these chairs. Absolutely. Use this environment. It can make your business happen. So changes. Okay, good. Yeah. So we're seeing the middle of everything ripped out, the Macy's and all this kind of stuff. Now we're seeing some increase on either side of the scale. Obviously, in this luxury plus and everyday, awesome, fantastic, out kind of space. So we know our audience needs a bunch of reasons to buy things, and you cannot fake this. This must be central to who you are, the way you speak to each other, your team, your outward message, all of this voice and essential inner beauty. This is the place that you need to concentrate most in your business. Sure, you have to have a unique perspective, and you have to have a really great network, and you have to have some sort of secret sauce that's yours. And that secret sauce has to come from within.
Anthony, you mean money?
No, if you develop how we did, that oddly enough organically comes to you. So if you have something that's unique and it's not a fad, and by the way, welcome to fashion, so you make sure that's not your lane, something that we can base a story from, that's authentic. And that absolutely has a full 360 message reel attached to it. How do you talk to your employees, your shareholders, stakeholders, your customer? What's your customer obsession about? What happens when someone engages with your company? When they order something from you, what's going to happen to them? And how are they going to continue and begin the journey that you'd like them to with you? So we're about to start a lot of media, a lot of engagements, and we know we have to do that. Not just we have to do that, we want to be our own universe. And no one in the world needs another damn t-shirt. Nobody does. They really don't. So why we're doing what we're doing is so much more important, is the why part. And that's where you really get a chance to excel, and that's where your market picks you up and takes you for a ride. In a good way.
I'd like to.
Well, you could also do both, because I do think actually I do think people need more t-shirts.
Quality t-shirts, yes.
Yeah.
Fast fashion, no.
But there's a lot of t-shirts being sold, and actually,
Get your t-shirt.
most people in the world wear a t-shirt every day, probably over 50%. But the why is important, but you can also go all the way to the other side of the spectrum. Don't niche yourself out. The best place you could be is where it's made in an ethical environment, potentially, right? And also, it's great value. For instance, Calvin Klein. I had a lot of underwear business going on in American Apparel. I used to give out 10,000 pairs of underwear at this trade show, in the taxi lines everywhere. They'd chase me around the show. I'd run up the hallways up here, down, and get thrown out again. It was crazy, cat and mouse game, imagine. I didn't even have a booth. They'd just bring 20 people with me and hand out underwear. But Calvin Klein moved into the underwear business pretty hard the last 3-4 years. And they have an underwear made for $12 a unit that they're selling in 5-pack at Urban Outfitters. I'm able to make a similar underwear, something similar to what I made in American Apparel, but at Los Angeles Apparel for $2. Okay? If I slide in an 8, mine's made in Los Angeles. Theirs is made in Sri Lanka. And if it fits better or the same, probably better, I'd be better off. And if I'm thinking, should I do it at 8 or 10 and snipe them from underneath? You understand? This is cutthroat stuff. Most of you are going to burn through your credit cards and wish you never even came to Magic. Trust me. I've seen. No, that's true. Don't let him fool you. I've had a lot of friends lose everything in this business, and I was a highly successful guy and lost everything, all my wealth.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah. So, and you've seen it. It's a dog-eat-dog business, but if you can have the why, the raison d'être is the same in French, the why, okay, and it's authentic, and you're not bullshitting yourself or the consumer, plus you have value. What is a pair of jeans worth today? 40, 50, 60, 70. A lot of the made in USA denim has been $200-300. But if you can have made in USA denim at 70 or 60 and compete with the offshore price, but do it here, which is absolutely possible, especially in Los Angeles and West Coast with all the different contractors and workers that we have, and the infrastructure we have. And I don't want to give too many trade secrets away, but it's a great infrastructure that I rely upon, right? You can win, but I'd say you need both sides of that coin. Okay? Don't say, oh, well, it's organic and it's this and that, I'm going to charge $300 and everybody else is 60. You're going to get slaughtered. Just remember, it's a brutal industry. It's unforgiving. Even Francis has had great challenges with the FBI. It's not, the government doesn't support it. Everybody thinks it's low end. They rather support the tech industry. Be careful. Be careful. Don't lose everything.
Certainly get your education, know what you want, know what you're asking for. And, when we're talking about t-shirts and stuff, what sells the most on your platforms?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, our biggest consumer are women. Of course, women buy 85–90% of all shopping. They spend the dollars, but most of our stuff is dresses, skirts, whatever we have at the time, if it's closeout, what they feel that they're getting a good deal on. And they feel like, wow, I got this really great garment, I got a really great price on it, and it makes you feel something, especially me as a woman. It makes me feel something special that I got such a great deal on something, and when I wear it, it makes me feel a certain way, and I think that's something that now brands need to really focus on, is your emotional connection with your consumer. What is going to make your consumer feel something? Whether it's that this garment I bought is planting trees, whether this garment I bought has this person's story on it, whether this garment I bought is at an amazing price and I feel really proud to wear it, and nobody knows that I got this for $8. Nobody has to know. I think something now that's getting away from fast fashion is the experience that you have with the brand, the loyalty that you build with the brand, and how something makes you feel. We all have our go-to items that we always look for online, no matter what it is. It can be Calvin Klein, it can be, any brand, it can be Levi's. You have that brand of loyalty, and for us as brands, it's up to us to build that and to find that way to connect with our customer now more than ever. Because before, when I first started out manufacturing with my lines, we sold wholesale only, because this was 12 years ago, before there was a lot of selling direct to consumer online, especially apparel. Apparel's difficult online sometimes because of the fit and the quality and things like that. But if you make this connection with your customer and you make them feel something good, you make them feel like a VIP, you make them look for you, that's 99% of your battle right there. So I think that now is what has changed in our industry. When I was selling wholesale, we didn't have to connect with our customer except to the stores. We connected to the stores, they connected to the customers. And now we're connecting directly, and it's a whole different ballgame.
Good, so I just want to go back to one thing, because this is a misconception with most startups, is money, okay? Because we see, as Duff said, I've been doing this fashion business incorporated for the last 20 years, and seen so many great ideas start up with enthusiasm, and I know Anthony's certainly going to build with his power. He's been built an amazing team around him. But that didn't just happen. And when you start a business and Dove's taking off again, you know, where does the money come from? You've got investors. How does, I know, Deanna, you've got investors for your new one, but you had your old business too, that, you know, you had to then change and translate over to this new business. How much money? People say, okay, well, you need 250,000. No, okay, you can start on a lower amount of money, but you've certainly got to plan. You can't do this with bad credit, and you can't do it without money. So the dreams of somebody starting a business is fantastic, but it's really important that you understand where that money is coming from. How do you intend to grow that company? How many of you got business and financial plans? 2 in this whole room. Oh dear. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. So if you feel, and Doug's got a very industrial response to this answer, if you feel that you have something unique, you have to start with, obviously we'll just start with the basics. Go out and get an LLC. Start with your trademarks, registrations. All of this backfill stuff, go find a friend who's a lawyer that can help you do some of this stuff, and keep coming to these trade shows. Keep coming and asking questions. Nothing good will ever happen to you if you stay at home. So go out, talk to people, ask questions. I've met a lot of people in this industry who are really generous with their time. And that's how I did what I did, was just talking and sharing and talking and sharing. Don't be scared to talk about what you want to do, and listen, and shut up and listen. And then maybe make a little change, and then you come back again. And if you do this enough, I mean, we now have the guy that was the president of 7 for All Mankind is out as our CEO now. We also have the guy that made Tom Ford's jeans, bring out denim market. So if you do this and you build your team, I did this the opposite way, Francis. Not I've got $1 million, how am I going to spend it? I made something unique, built a team. Of course, you've got to have some money to sustain this timeline that I'm talking about here.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, you bet. So once you build something that I define this as the unbreakable moment. Whether you're funded or not, if you've got something that's unique and must happen, you'll get some other people involved, whether security lawyers or some great accountants that will bring some money to you or something like this. And we have 100 ways to do this. But none of it involves things that fall off the back of a truck, which is not what we stand for.
So money-wise, you know, when you started your online platform, what kind of budget were you looking at?
When I first started, I had very little budget because I was funding it myself and I was paying for it with my own money. And as I started building it out, I realized that I needed X amount of money to build my website, to have it secure, and to be able to accept payments without any problems and all of these things. So to even get started, I needed $100,000, which sounds like a ton of money, and it's a lot of money when you don't have it, but I didn't need it all in one day. So I started paying for it myself as I could, and that's how I built it. And your network is one of your most important things. Keep a good reputation and network. Here are these shows, introduce yourself to people around you. You never know who's sitting near you. Go to network events in the fashion industry or whatever, accessories, whatever you guys are doing. Those people know people. And friends that you went to college with, friends that you went to high school with are lawyers and they're accountants. And people genuinely love to help each other. They want to help you, but like Anthony said, you have to listen, because the last thing somebody wants to do is help you when you don't listen and you say,
Absolutely.
But really, your network is worth more than anything, and that's how we have gotten our funding, was through our network of different people that we have worked with over the years, and we had a great reputation, and they knew, you know, I'm going to refer you to this person because I know you're solid. So don't undercut, don't do shady things, you know, just really try to keep your reputation and your network strong, and you should be okay.
I know you've got investors waiting to invest, and so that's your next path, obviously, which is very exciting.
Yes.
So Dove, how did you get yourself off the ground again? Did you get...
My situation is unique.
We know.
I don't think it would be misleading people to think, you know, my situation is like the one time things happened that happened to me. But one, you can try to really work, you need unsecured credit. If you're in the LA area and you're buying fabrics, you want to get upfront, say, look, I'm going to need 60 days or 30 days. Don't pay COD, try to negotiate terms. You know, credit's big. The second, if you are planning to do wholesale, I recommend getting a factor before you get going. So if you drop 50, 100, or 150, or 200, or $250,000 in a bank account, quickly get an opening balance sheet with your accountant, which should not cost more than $2,500, just that they certify that the money was put into the account, and get your financing then. Don't start running and then looking for the financing. Get the financing ahead of time before you say, look, I'm putting in $250,000 of my family's money into this business. I need a factor. So there are a number of factors. Actually, Francis offline can tell you some of the major ones.
John, tell them what a factor is.
Well, tomorrow we're having a seminar tomorrow morning.
A factor
with
is a
factor.
lender. Also, those of you that are minorities or women can get SBA loans right up on the front side. Okay, there's a lot, especially I've seen unbelievable financial packages with banks for women. Okay, I wish I was a woman. I'm not. Can't help it. Don't know what to do. My mother says tough luck. But if you can get these things, try to get the money up front. Then once you have the money, don't spend it. And then if you have the factor, don't a lot of people say, well, I'm going to get a deposit from the store and I'm going to make the goods, and then it's 50% COD. As soon as the buyer knows they have to pay COD, you're choking your sales. You're better to give net 30, net 60 through the factor, pay the factor the number of points that they need, but negotiate that up front, because once you're accounting, once you start your business and it's a dog's breakfast, a bunch of receipts in a shoebox, you're kind of cooked. You know, they say, well, when you finished your financial statements, come back to us. But if you have the factor up front, you don't have to worry about that.
Well, you can get a refactor too for the startups.
Yeah, there's refactoring factories, so I'll say. Then the other thing is, try to get, before you destroy your credit, which you will, trust me, I've done it all. I mean, you can't believe what I put myself through. I mean, you get your home equity loan ahead of time. Make sure it's a second lien, so you know, use your head on how you set it up. Don't get put it down the capital stack your own, but get your home equity loan set up, or plan your credit cards, or get a new credit before you start levering into, let's say you're closing a $20,000 credit card. You know, get that all sorted before you start. Don't lever up that credit card, then go to the next one. Try to get a couple credit cards before you have debt. Plan it. That's actually what I did to start Los Angeles Apparel. The first thing I did was I went to 2 factors, FTC Commercial, which you know who FTC is. He's a swell guy. His name's, what's his last name? Ken Weinbrett, swell guy, just blank his last name. And then there was it's Continental Business Credit, Lee Hirsch. They're both great guys.
And there's another one coming tomorrow who is also, he's very knowledgeable, Don Nadari.
Yeah, Capital Business Credit, you can go to their office, Ken Weinbrett, you can go to his office, you tell them your business plan, they'll pitch you, you get one, they'll give you a proposal. You only need this is really important to do that ahead of time, so if you're
Relationships.
Yeah, and then you want receivable financing and some inventory. They probably say no to inventory, but you know, you pick one against the other, it's competitive. They want your business. They charge a fee on your sales, plus they charge you interest. You borrow, you get advance the receivables. Again, this is an unpleasant industry. It's miserable. The best thing I can tell everybody in this room, if you haven't started, think about stopping and fold your numbers. I'm serious. You're going to be in for a firestorm. You're going to be in for a firestorm. And once you get in, this is Hotel California, you can't check out. Okay. The worst thing I did was when I was 18, I started my business. I got burned for $100,000. This guy didn't pay me. And I said, Dad, I'm going to earn it back. That was 18. I'm 48. I'm still hustling. I'm still trying to earn back that first $100,000. Okay, so just be careful.
Well, you've certainly left a good story there.
Yeah. Is that Ram over there?
Yeah.
Ram is a guy you gotta know. He has his system to detect. Yeah, whether you're working with an offshore supplier or whether you're working local or whatever, you have to make patterns, marking and grading. Check out what he's doing, because he knows everybody. He's like one of the, he's one of the knights in the industry, and he's still young and alert and can stay up 20 hours a day. I definitely want to hook up with him. These are some of the networking pieces you're speaking of. But Ram knows people on all 5 continents.
Well, the thing with RAM was this whole, what you've just done is introduce my next topic, and that is technology. And how technology is being used within the industry. And we're talking about one of the companies we know in Los Angeles got a robot who's cutting the t-shirts and sewing the t-shirts. So it's all suction for cutting, and then they'll cut them and the robot's sewing it. So this is the way it's going. I know you haven't got the robots yet, but what are we seeing in the changes and how technology is being used is very exciting. And I think Ram will probably be able to address that as well.
Well, look, first of all, I think there's no magic. There's soapbots, but it's not, a lot of the technology hasn't been proven. It's a lot more work than people think. But I will say that in the marking and grading, there's also 3D. You can take your pattern, it pumps out the spec sheet if you know how to use it. There's a lot of money to be saved in the development area right now.
Well, they're doing what we call mass customization. You can scan the body, have the patterns made, change just to one particular fit, and then it's shipped to you, cut individually. So there's some amazing...
And go to Ram's website now, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
3D, where it takes the pattern and it somehow morphs it into a 3D image that you could sell from. You don't have to shoot a model.
They don't do sampling, they can just do a sample online, a virtual sample.
Or you can go from 3D back to or you can go from 3D back to the 2D pattern, so you can design a bathing suit in 3D, and then it migrates back to 2D. But all of this stuff is fast moving, and it's in its infancy, but I imagine in 10 or 12 years, everybody's going to be on all these type of platforms. And to my knowledge, I know all the different platforms that are out there. I have to look at them, unfortunately. Ram has the best stuff, and he's probably it's the only LA-based, Los Angeles-based, West Coast-based, or United States-based technology operation for all of that high-tech cutting systems. He sold me the cut, like I have this thing, automatic spreading, cutting from the computer screen. It's remarkable. Any of you can come visit my factory.
I think Ram, you owe him dinner.
Ram can speak for himself.
Okay, so talking about getting ready and preparing your product, knowing what you want, you've identified your niche. How many of you know how to do tech packs? Would you be bringing that up and how this...
What's that?
Tech packs. Or BS. Okay, so those of you starting your own business, one of the first things I have to tell you is making sure that you know what you're looking for, know what you're asking for. When you go and find these consultants who say they can sew something for you and they can do the sampling for you, honestly, check them out. Do a credential check. Make sure that they can produce the goods they say that they can produce. Make sure you know what you're asking for. If they're talking about certain cover stitches and certain seaming or adding details, then you need to make sure you know what you're asking for. We've had people who've spent $54,000 on samples. Not one of them was usable. So please know what you're asking for. Otherwise you'll get what you don't know what you're asking for. However, Anthony, I know that you have a team, and you started your own business. You didn't come from this industry.
No, I have an MBA, but I've learned how to do tech packs.
You don't need an MBA for this industry.
I'm getting okay at it. I'm not the best. But Francis is absolutely right. Having those controls over your little babies that are coming up out of the sample right the first time is everything. All our clothes are made in Los Angeles. I wish we could make in Seattle, but this is America's sewing room in LA, and we're working very deeply with the mayor, Mayor Garcetti, and his economic development.
Oh, goody.
I love it.
Good luck.
Yeah, okay, well, we're going to do things a little different.
Right.
Anyway.
She's jaded a little bit.
Just-
She's
boy. All of you don't pay attention. It can be good, it can be successful, no one's dying, it's going to be alright. So yeah, getting back to tech bags. And the sampling process, obviously, it's where you're manufacturing, you can hop over to China and get this stuff done in 3 or 4 weeks and babysit that process. Or you can start marching towards Los Angeles, and a similar experience will happen to you. But yes, you absolutely must know exactly what you're dealing with on every single step of your operation. Whereas if it's a blank, where's it coming from? What's the fit like? God damn it, it's all, this fit thing is so important. You guys buy anything online, and we know this, and as a brand, we're seeing some younger people buy 3 and 4 of the same item shipping to back. So this can kill a business also. So the better you understand the technical construction and the process of that technical construction, and your ability to effectively communicate that to your customer, of course, lowers that situation in business. So yes, you really got to have eyes on the prize in each step of the way.
Well, the problem in America is they don't have rules on grading, so there's no set rules as far as what is a typical size 6, 4, 2, 0. You know, they've all come up with their own invention as to what sizing should be. Whereas in Europe, there are pretty strict rules about what sizing should be, so you've got to know how you're going to grade this up and down, what are your basic sizes that you're going to start with. So that's really a problem when you come to sell international. When you're selling a brand, people buy a brand because they recognize the brand and they know how it fits. So what are you going to do when you start selling international? Maybe you can address that.
Yeah, I want to address the sizing really quick, because your sizing within a brand is so important. And you may have, say this shirt is, say, a medium. All your mediums should fit the same body. You shouldn't have some mediums that fit a bigger size and some that fit a smaller size. People need to know that your brand, a medium is going to fit me no matter what I buy in that brand. So just watch your sizing, because I've seen many brands, Gap, Banana, I go there, I can fit one size in one pant, and another pant I fit a different size. So just watch your sizing, because you do want that customer to say, I know exactly what size I wear, and they don't buy 3 and send 2 back, because that does happen.
Okay, so once you size it incorrectly, and for some styles are small and some styles are medium on the same person, then what you can do, because this happened, you're already pigeonholed because you designed it, they're buying it, then you don't want to switch the spec, you can put on the website, fits slightly tighter, or consider sizing up, or has clients who remark this is slightly tighter, size up. Because, yeah, of course, she's telling you the way to do it. After you mess it up.
And you will mess it up. You will mess it up.
Yeah, so then you can put these little notes, instead of hiding, say, this fits like, medium fits like a small on many.
And you can have a really fun story about that, by the way. You make it part of the experience and make it fun.
There you go.
You got to do
It's all
that.
intentional.
You bet, you bet. Anything that creates engagement is a good thing.
And selling internationally is a challenge. There's different standards for every country. There are different shipping, there are different tariffs, taxes, all kinds of things. So just each country, I would say, know it before you start selling to it, before you run into problems. Because you'll ship some goods and you'll never get paid because they'll be stuck somewhere in nowhere land. And your hard work and your money and your goods are sitting somewhere else, and your customer is not happy. So learn your country and learn how to ship to them. FedEx, UPS, they have great resources. DHL.
For international.
Yeah, for DHL, they have great resources. They will help you. They will tell you how to do these things. Don't try to do it just straight off the bat on your own. Get some help and do it right.
The most important thing you got to know as a small business owner, if you're doing online business, is de minimis. De minimis is what is the minimum to go under the radar into that country. The hardest country to get crap into, excuse my language, get clothing into, is Canada. De minimis is $15. So it's very hard to ship to Canada because Canada is protective of its distribution systems because it's next door to Big Brother, right? Now, the countries you can go right away where you can roll pretty much without headache, Australia, de minimis, $7.50. So you can, right away, you can start selling to Australia out of the gate. And you could even have a separate price for Australia, say it's $10 US, it's 14 Australian, right? But we'll get it to you. That means if it's a $300 dress, it gets into Australia right away. So Australia is the first market you're ready to roll. Hong Kong, nothing, no problems. And then the next two countries that are really great is Japan and Korea. About under 170, it rolls. So the four countries, if you just want to begin with no headache, and know that it's going to, if as long as your products are under 150, you know, if they order 400, you're going to have to splice it. It's Korea, Japan, Australia, Hong Kong. Those are easy to roll into. And then so those are just a little trick that takes, somehow no one writes this down. It's like nowhere to be found. So these little, this is just a little gift of making it easier.
Another way to talk to your international audience is through business intelligence, and what we're doing at Lumber Union is, if you're in one country and you type in Lumber Union, we have a country-specific website for you. So those sizings that are native to where the person is buying from, and those logistics that are attached to that, it's just a simple business intelligence piece for your company. So lumberunion.com is not the same website in the UK as it is here in America.
And I would
You can
suggest,
price it in each country, so you can do it in pounds, put it up 40%. To get the goods, but I had DHL in my office maybe a week ago, and we were just bouncing ideas off each other, and I have quite a lot of experience with shipping internationally. Basically, if you want to go international, good rule of thumb, for like Europe or Canada, it's going to be a 40% premium, and you got to charge for $20. Okay, so if it's a $50 item, you gotta go, it's gotta really roll up to 70. Plus you gotta charge for $20 just to break even, because there's sales taxes, duty into Canada it's 18% at the end of the year and it's 0 at the beginning of the year. It's very complicated, okay? But into Europe it's 12% and the VAT is 20, so you figure 40%. With the exception of those other countries I told you about, right, where you hit the under the radar de minimis. Of course, it's over the de minimis, the same story. Right away when you open your business, get a DHL account. You have to, otherwise you're just going to, and America is not the majority anymore. The majority is the world, okay? So you want to figure out how to get your stuff out. And what he said is very smart too, you need multiple languages. You need multiple languages. But it's all, Shopify, amazing company. And you know what's great about Shopify? It's not in America. They're outside the United States, so they understand all this stuff.
this is the website, Bill.
Yeah, Shopify it's amazing what they've been able to do. So you get with Shopify, get with a factor, figure out your de minimis. These are just little tricks. Get your credit cards lined up ahead of time, or your home equity loan. You know, whatever you need to do to get your money. These are all the conclusion.
Also, with your website, one thing, get a very, very good web guide if you're going to be selling online. There are plugins for everything that you can think of. Your web can do it. So get a really good web person. Don't waste your time on a cut rate web person. Get a really good one. There are plugins that can handle, that plug into DHL, to UPS, to FedEx, that can track your inventory from multiple sites. If you sell on Amazon, you sell on Walmart, you sell on your own website, it can keep track of all of your inventory for all of these.
What system are you using?
I use Shopify. I use Shopify, but there are plugins. So there are so many plugins. So make sure, if you can think of it and say, my website should be able to do this, there is something out there that does it. And you can go look at, you know, if you do a WordPress site or whatever, you can go and search for plugins for whatever you want. They will pop up, I promise you, 100 or more. They can do whatever you want. So don't say, gosh, I wish my website could do that. It can.
How are you using social media, you guys? I know Dove's on it all day, but you post quite a bit, don't you?
You want to ask me
Yeah.
first or last?
Oh,
Last.
yes.
We'll ask Anthony first.
Yeah, well, as a direct digital brand, social media for us is about to be everything. We're very low and slow right now until we build up in October for our digital release with a very large e-commerce partner. Mom and Dad is Facebook. The world is Instagram now, and Snapchat. Forget the Facebook. You can sell a poll on Facebook. I think we probably did that this morning, but everything in the world of stories on Instagram. That's not enough. All of this is dead in 2 years as well. The way you create digital content and the bank that you have is everything. Where how you distribute it, this changes literally every cycle. What happened for the last season's selling cycle in November, December is not what's going to happen next. So I'm not a digital expert, but I've got two that work for me. In fact, that guy in the white shirt there is the ex-general manager of Microsoft Xbox Live. So you really want to get a really strong team when you talk about digital experience and those partnerships that you will then create with large companies that help you roll into the way you're telling the story and the way you're capturing it and attending your audience.
So with social media, I'm going to go back to technology too, because social media is, I agree, it's not just Facebook anymore. I mean, Facebook has its place for whatever you're doing, but Instagram, Snapchat, and also Pinterest, but artificial intelligence now, retargeting, remarketing. Have you ever looked up something and the next thing you know that you're seeing commercials for that exact thing? Yeah, all of these things are important, and it's going to get more and more and more. And anybody have an Alexa in here? Okay, artificial intelligence.
Alexa, stop.
Yeah, Alexa can hear you even when you don't say Alexa. But this is leading into different kinds of marketing, and you guys are going to have to really, if you're selling direct to the consumer, you're really going to have to think outside the box with what's coming next. Don't just say, okay, it's going to be Facebook, that's what it's always been. It's changing faster and faster and faster now. The technology is rolling quicker. You have to roll quicker too and think outside the box.
Well, everything they said is great, very great. But I'll say one thing: don't be afraid to offend people. If we've learned anything, okay, who was one of the biggest marketers of the last 5 years or 3 years?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, madman. I mean, it's this. Okay, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Relax. Let's just admire Donald Trump for a second as a marketer. Okay, he is relentless. He doesn't care who he offends. That's what I want to tell you. Okay, you know. If you do not be afraid to offend customers, because if you are just stand for everything, you stand for nothing, okay? If you stand for something and you take a position, you know, that's what it is. That's what's real. That's what makes a brand, that it means something. And fashion is elitist, by the way. You know, it's saying we know that our brand knows better. We know what we're doing. It's not about democracy, really. Okay?
You've still got to be careful when you're starting out that you're not pissing people off, right? So
yeah, but if you piss people off hard enough, you can become president. Well, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to tell you right now. Look, I had a controversial ad campaign, trust me. Okay, and it worked. Okay, and you don't have to be just, you don't have to ship disturbing sake, because then you're gonna be marginalized. But if you believe in something, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Donald Trump is absolutely extraordinary because I don't even think he believes in half of this stuff. You know, he's like unpeeling the onion. Who is underneath? Is he even a real person?
Well, he's producing in China, this guy.
Forget about that. This guy, he says one thing, but he means another. But
we better not get on.
He's too high. He's too high level for us in this room. Okay.
Francis, we can just
step it down. You just you gotta stand for something and be prepared to be against something and go with it. Go with it. Because if Hillary Clinton, we weren't sure exactly, you know. She didn't have that slap in the face, you know?
So now, let's get on back to this topic. How many of you would like to ask a question of our panelists here? Please, we've got big mics in the front here for you to ask a question. Anybody? Would you
come up to the mics?
How tall are you?
6'4". Okay, this is very funny for me because I'm 43. So I am a screen printer and embroiderer for more than 20 years of experience.
Can I have your email address?
Sure. But I'm from Puerto Rico, so.
We can ship to Puerto Rico, no problem, get DHL.
So this is the deal, and this is very funny. This is my first time in Magic. I've been in hundreds of shows literally through all my career, and I have a 13-year-old who started a brand. And she was very lucky to have an angel investor who was a screen printer and embroiderer, right? So she invented a brand. So I'm here trying to figure it out, the difference between this guy, for example, and this guy. Okay?
Me too.
This is Mark, right?
Yeah.
So this is what happens. You got this guy who's having a brand because of a why, and as most of the people that are here are not even in the close of thinking about getting 100 grand or 200 grand for the brands, right? So most of the people are like hearing these people saying like, I can identify with them. Am I right? Because now everybody wants a brand. Everybody wants to build a brand, and everybody thinks it's easy to build a brand. And I say that from experience because every week I get one or two 20 to 30 years old saying, you know what, Charney, I'm here because I want you to make my brand, right? So they're talking about more complex things that most of the people here are not even there yet.
What is your question?
You want to know my question? I'd love you for me to answer. I think most of the brands today are based on a why or not exactly related on a good product. You are so different from him because you're selling your stuff based on content marketing and social media and some other stuff.
No, that's not accurate. All of our things are made in America here with beyond the
Can
same.
you let me finish because I've seen that you're
Right.
interrupting a few times. So here comes the question. I really believe that what he says has a bit more value. I'm not disrespecting you, but I always say that product, what we're doing here, is based on product and quality. Because
Yeah, what's your question?
how long do you think you're gonna last if you build your brand on looks and not product, like he says?
Right, you're assuming I'm not basing my product on any quality.
No, I'm not assuming that at all. What I mean is,
That's the basis of
no,
your question.
I mean, okay, the question is this: do you know anybody older than 40 years old or 50 years old? No, because today, not now. What I mean is, this guy, is 50 years old. Name me a cooler.
I'm 47.
I understand. Let me explain to you because I'm lost.
Listen, we have
Okay.
people who want to ask questions, people who
Okay,
think.
how long do you think you're gonna keep your brand marketing and competing based on marketing?
I have one thing to say before everybody leaves. If you want to know how to start your own business, we've touched the surface. However, I have my book over there, Fashion for Profit. There's also a sourcing guide. Any of you looking to produce in America, it's in that sourcing guide. Anyone looking for fabrics, anyone thinking about all the legalese, we were talking just some of it. So it's a big deal. So the books are over there. Please have a look at it. And your question is?
And I want to say one quick thing. There are more seminars coming up in the next couple days that Francis and some of us will be a part of. So if you would like to come by those, please feel free.
We're downstairs in the sourcing zone in the information part. So we'll be there to answer questions.
What's your question?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys do paid advertising? Does that work for your business? Because I just started my business in March 3 years, and I'm just now starting into paid advertising. And I did a little bit of Facebook ads, but like you said, most people are on Instagram. So do you guys see a lot of conversion with paid advertising driving more traffic? Because I usually just get organic traffic, so I feel like I should pay.
Organic's better. Number one, organic's better. Number two, here, I'm gonna do it. Charney _ Los Angeles. Get it face to face. Okay, that's better because I found when you pay for it, you're not getting the likes anyway because they didn't find you on their own. The hashtag is super important. Absolutely. But paid can work, but if you get it organic, you're lucky.
And if you can get out there like Deb did with the underwear, just get out there and meet your customers. Get them to know who you are.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, this is my first Magic, and
Welcome.
My flight, I scheduled it just so I could be here for this session, so I came straight from the airport to hear this. You guys are fabulous. So, I heard you, when I stepped in, you were saying how if you're thinking about doing this, don't. This is gonna be your worst nightmare. So, but to riff off of that, I'd like to hear from each of you, what has been your biggest challenge or nightmare in this business?
I thought of it last night. Trusting the wrong people. Boom. That's it.
It's tough. What was yours?
Yeah, mine is similar, but getting in business with the wrong people, whether it's the wrong stores, the wrong sales reps, you have to have a strong connection of people all around you, a strong team, strong network, everything.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say something positive about this. Go low and go slow. Don't rush anything. If you're going to get in business with somebody, talk to some other people who've done business with that person. And also, don't be afraid to try someone new in a team that has a passion for something. I always find that my best business relationships is when somebody has a passion about what they do. And then with that comes credentials and experience. So yeah, of course, Helen Keller will say don't get into business with the wrong people, but how to mitigate that is just low and slow. And that's sometimes not fun to take your time with things, get a lot of opinions, call people that know what they're talking about, like Frances, who will answer the phone, and she has for me many times. But yeah, low and slow.
On the other hand, if you don't grab your sales, you may not be taken seriously. That's a problem that I think there's a reversal to every rule.
You might miss the way.
Sickness of this business.
This lady.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Fortune, and I'm out of LA. I started my own brand. It's a t-shirt brand.
What's your name of your company?
It's called La La Live,
Okay.
and it's a motivational and an empowerment brand for men and women and kids. So my question is, I have a great value behind my brand, which is promoting positivity and empowerment. How do I relate that online because I can sell to anyone face to face. But when it comes to the online market, I've noticed that it's a very different way of connecting with the audience. What is the best way to do that and still be able to build your brand, build your sales at the same time? Because I feel like that's where my struggle is.
Yeah.
So, and I was sitting here, I was like, what question do I need to ask? And I feel like no one knows that.
Yeah, you know why you do so well and people buy things from you? Because you can tell the story. You're going to do the same thing in a digital way. It's all going to be about you and your story for me. You bet.
Interesting.
Yeah, get a YouTube channel, start talking about how you're doing, what you're doing. That's my opinion. I'm sure Dub has the opposite.
Well, I would say, your story is so compelling, make it where they feel something through the computer. You saw his video, you felt something when you watched it, you felt what his brand was about. Make them feel you.
Are you
Got your
giving
phone right there. Get to work.
Are you giving back to a charity or giving is some of the revenue going somewhere else or?
Well, I haven't gotten that far down the line because it's only been 2 years, but within my market, which is I'm in Long Beach, and I screen print all of my product. It's all handcrafted, so I draw all the sketches and make the design, and I convert them into a screen print. And I do that, and I send.
What I'm asking is that when you look at what Anthony was saying, he's planting a tree, right? Dove's employing local employment, producing. It's all goodwill, and you can brand a company by co-branding with somebody else. If you're giving back, they will help build that brand for you as well. So it's important that if you do have a story, you're starting out, why not give back? It's your time to be able to, even if it's 2%, give back to this positive brand that you're building.
Very good.
I just have a quick idea for you.
Good.
Just hearing you talk right now, you shine and you radiate.
Right.
I feel like with each t-shirt, if it has a story, a phrase you really believe in, I feel like as a customer on your website buying a shirt, if you had like a 2-minute video or 1 minute, whatever, you could also post on Instagram, I feel like that would compel me to buy it, just seeing you talk about why you believe in that phrase.
100% agree.
And it would sell.
And what's funny is each shirt does have a background.
You need to get on stories
There you
too.
go.
Okay.
Very good.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming. One question I had was, what was the role of market research at any point in either of your processes in terms of whether it's syndicated data, custom research in terms of segmentation, kind of the science behind the emotion, trying to quantify that?
Zero.
Okay.
The actor I got acquired from American Apparel illegally, they hired all these focus groups, and the sales went from 634 million and crashed into the zero end. Okay, you gotta know what you have to have it here, and you have to surround yourself with people that understand it. And if you don't have it here, you know better than your customer. You become the customer. You start drinking your own Kool-Aid. You start your own religion. Okay, and the people come to you. It's a really freaky situation, but that market research stuff is rear view mirror. That's the problem with it. That's what I think. If you think you got a product that people need, like Steve Jobs said, people need funds, you know, who would have known, right? You just got to get it in here and go with your gut and surround yourself with your customers, hire your customers, you know, so you're all in the same.
Deanna, I know that.
Unless you're Amazon.
Well, Amazon is.
Then the data is the only thing that matters. They don't know facts.
No, but they know that.
They don't
I'm
know
not
facts.
saying you don't know.
They don't know facts.
That's research.
They
I'm not saying don't collect data.
No.
I'm saying you don't need to do these like focus groups. Forget it.
Don't agree with us.
Just know your customer. Know who your customer is, know who you're going after, be in their head, be just like this lady that was here just a minute ago with the t-shirts. Be passionate about what you're doing. It'll spill over, people will feel it, and that's what you need to market your
You
product.
still need to do your market research. I'm sorry, Adele, I know what
Yeah.
you wanted, but there are so many companies out there. When you look at where we are in this trade show, the whole thing is full of companies producing clothing. So you have to know.
Yeah, so you're going to start. Do you have a brand? Do you have
In
a
the
brand?
process of it.
Okay, great, okay.
I've worked for a market research firm, and I'm moving over to start my own thing, so I'm always
Good.
thinking about data. And
You
I'm
should be.
kind of
The world is
trying to
driven
step
by
away
data.
from being too data-driven and bringing in more
Good.
emotion.
Okay, this is a great question. Okay, so you're going to start this way. If once you put your brand on Facebook or Instagram or something like this, you're going to those first initial metrics of trying a bunch of things to communicate what you're doing and how you're doing it are everything to you. You're going to do a little bit of paid advertising, and the results are going to come back to you. You're going to learn about this. You're going to do a little bit more. You're going to learn about this. Then you're going to go call one of your buddies at Amazon or somebody at Microsoft or somebody at Cisco and say, I need to start understanding what my customer is doing. There's two types of leaders in this world. One is, where are my people going so I can get in front of them and lead them? You don't want to be that guy. Or, everybody, let's go this way based on a path of predictive modeling. So yes, you have to be authentic, and yes, you have to be you, and that's not analytics. But blindsiding what's happening in the marketplace is also not your business. So yeah, start collecting all of that data, what people are responding to, what age group is responding to, what time they're responding. You've got to start from a place. So digital intelligence, and by the way, if you really want to really know all about this stuff, Jay, can you stand up for a minute? Go and see this guy after this. This guy is the king of digital intelligence in our space. And he's a really nice guy, and he's got lots of time to talk to you guys about this. So yeah, go and talk to Jay. Thank you. You bet.
Okay, one more question and then we'll have to close up. If you have other things that you want to talk to us about, please come up front. But this lady's the last.
So again, thank you guys for taking your time out your busy day doing this panel for us. So my name is Whitney Jones. I am a brand called Live and Kiss. I have plus size clothing between sizes of 12 and 36. I sew, I design, I pattern make, I find fabric. I do it all. So in the Midwest, we do not have production companies. You can go to LA, you can go to Florida, you can go to Atlanta, New York. I've had conversations with all of them, but I want to build my own production company. How do I do it? Or do you have any advice on where to start?
What are the garments you need?
Where are they made?
What do they look like?
Okay,
Like that shirt?
No, they're shirts, dresses, pants, skirts, everything women's apparel.
Maybe get 5/8 sewing machines in LA from a used dealer.
Okay.
Okay. Haul them out.
Okay.
Put an ad. Where do you live again?
St. Louis, Missouri.
There are sewers in St. Louis, Missouri.
There are.
There are. St. Louis actually, they're going to be older. They're going to know what they're doing.
Okay.
You could build your own little shop, get a cutting table, a knife, maybe talk to Ram to maybe get you you need to be able to make patterns.
Right, especially digitalized patterns.
I'll give you Ram, try to hunt him down.
You know what, thank you so much for the, no, seriously, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
I was just factory trained. 47 years in the garment manufacturing, I'm still learning what to do. Set up more factories in the entire world in about 47 years, and you can count on. I'm not kidding. And I'm telling you, this business is a constantly changing business. All of your startup companies, you gotta understand two things. One, fit. You work dead on. Without fit, nothing sounds good. Doesn't matter how beautiful the garment looks. And where does that come from? Patents. The oxygen room of your business is going to be the patent room. Without a patent, you got nothing to cut, nothing to sell, nothing to show, nothing to make. You learn those two things, you're on your way. You can make the lousiest looking garment, but it fits best. People get comments on that, they come back. I'm 67 this year, 67 years old. Started this company after the heart attack and retired. So I did not start this for money. I already had it. My objectives have been to work with a little guy. We have no sales.
Ramble. I'm so sorry.
I just want them to.
They need to get the
They
room.
can buy. They don't have to buy it. You can rent assistance. Go to tukatech.com. There are 100 or more companies who started.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm from MAGIC, and I just wanted to thank you all for being here.